everyone. I'm Priteem Behera from TIH Foundation for IoT and IoV. So I'll be presenting my paper on performance analysis of soil sensors. We'll be focusing on three parameters: the accuracy, variability, and repeatability of the sensors. So the paper is structured in this following way. We'll talk about the problem statement that we're trying to solve, and then we'll introduce the solution that we are offering. First, we'll analyze the soil moisture sensors, then we'll move on to soil NPK sensors, then I'll conclude and I'll show you what the future work that we are currently doing. So as we know, like precision agriculture is going to lead to better quality crop. But at the same time, what we observe in reality is the farmers suffer in taking intelligent decisions regarding the irrigation and fertigation. Those decisions are inefficient because they are not based on data, but based on intuition and the traditional knowledge that they have. And whatever the kind of experiments and tests the farmers make, those have limitations. For example, the soil testing that they do, it is a one-time only testing, and they do not get to know how the field's parameters are changing over time. And it is anyways labor intensive, and it is a complex lab process, and they don't have a simpler access to data. So it hinders their management of irrigation, their management of pests, their management of diseases, and on a host of different problems. So in order to tackle all those things, so what we have is a platform where it has a combination of hardware and software solution. The hardware solution is termed as Sambhav systems, and the software solution is termed as iSarathi system. The Sambhav system is an IoT-based system which has soil and weather sensors that sends data to the iSarathi platform. The sensors are calibrated to give us the accuracy that we need from the sensors, and we do all the calibration in-house in our labs. And in the iSarathi platform, we have some machine learning algorithms running so that we can give advisories to the farmers with respect to the pest and disease management and irrigation management as well. So giving the overview of this solution, the data is sent over the cloud and the app is accessible to the farmers. On the right-hand side, you can see some deployments that we have done across fields. So coming to the soil moisture sensor right now. So we have compared our Sambhav sensors, that's they're in green color, highlighted in green color. We've compared this one with other sensors with Teros 12 sensors from Meter Group, earlier known as Decathlon devices. We consider them as the benchmark sensors for our study. And we also got sensors from other parts of the world like China and UK, and we find that the Sambhav sensors suit our needs perfectly. How we do that? What we can see here in figure A is the Sambhav sensors in different colors, and Teros 12 sensor in black color. We can see the variability within the sensors from the same OEM in some Sambhav sensors is very less. And it also is in accordance with the benchmark sensor. So that's why we go ahead with this sensor and we try to deploy it in other areas and in different fields. So what we observe here is in different fields, the behavior of the sensor is different. And that's why we say that the sensors need soil-specific calibration in order to have better accuracy. So again, in the lab, what we do is we follow gravimetric moisture analysis process, and we compare the volumetric water content with the sensor data, and we do a best fit curve to get accurate calibrated data. And we can see it is within plus minus 3% of accuracy that is needed for precision farming. And what we have done is we have deployed the sensor in different fields across Maharashtra. And in a control environment, we are doing field trials. Here we can see it is correlated with the rainfall data. The red color is the instantaneous rainfall that is happening. And the black one is the moisture changes that is happening in accordance with the rainfall. And other irrigation activities are also taken in between, but mostly it is the rainfall that is causing the moisture to change. And again, settles down to somewhere around the field capacity of the soil. On the figure B, you can see the vertical dotted lines. Vertical dotted lines are irrigation events, which the farmers are trying to maintain it at a particular moisture level. As you can see, the sensors are also giving the same thing, that is getting maintained at 50% soil moisture. So what we can conclude here is the expectations of the farmers are met with these kind of sensors, that they show exactly what the farmers are doing in the field. Now coming to NPK sensors, first we studied the variability of the sensors from the same OEM. For that, what we did is we took 19 NPK fertilizer, it's a particular ratio. We mix it in the water solution, and then we test all the parameters, and we see it is within 2% variability from the in each of the sensors. So the variability is confirmed from this experiment. Now what we also did is we put that in the same fields, and we see the nitrogen NPK, and black one is the EC, the electrical conductivity of the soil. We're correlating these two parameters because they are closely related. But we can see when farmers apply the first basal dose, we see a certain peak in the all the three nutrients. And when the second dose is applied, there's another peak which is larger than the first one because there's already nutrients present in the soil, and the uptake rate is not that much. That's why there is a larger peak. And when the the fertigation is applied constantly, it remains at the constant point and gradually decreases when there is no fertilizers applied. It gradually decreases. Similarly, what we can see in other field, it's a separate system, but we can see it's a different behavior. Why? Because although we see a level shift, but there are these little peaks happening and over the entire course of the census. This is because of the irrigation and rainfall that is happening. So the irrigation changes the electrical conductivity of the soil, and that in turn affects the nutrient content in the soil. That again is reflected in the sensors. So it's a pretty much a good correlation among the sensor and the activity that we are trying to do in the field. So I'd like to conclude here by saying that selection, when you're going to select a sensor, minimum variability is the most important thing. And soil-specific calibration is important if you want to increase the accuracy in the soil. And NPK sensors that we could see there's a good correlation. In the future, what we are trying to look at is the long-term sensor drift and behavioral sensors. And we're trying to correlate EC and NPK sensors and the behavior of how these irrigation events are going to change the nutrient content. And we're also looking forward to correlate NPK data and some soil moisture data with the traditional lab-based methods. And finally, we'll try to standardize the sensor performance and behavior in an IoT ecosystem. Thank you.